How do you trade the trend? One guy was saying he made lots of money during the summer on gold buys and pound sells, and unfortunately when the trend changed he didn't recognize that, so he carried on doing that and basically took his account, which he built about 600% down to about a fifth of what he actually initially invested. So first of all, how do we know when a trend is forming? So here on gold, this is going back into April now, right? We've got a sideways channel, right? Whenever you see a sideways channel on a pair with the background coming down, and then so gold's from 2009 February was actually in a downtrend. You know, we've got a high here, a lower high here, lower high here. So this is actually a downtrend, right? And then we went through this channel here. This is a consolidation phase. This is called a Wyckoff accumulation phase. Now what we normally like to see in here is called the Wyckoff spring, which is where you go down below the channel, you come back up into the channel. This would confirm a buy. I did a video on it in the pound during a couple of weeks ago on the YouTube channel, and so we know that this channel is potentially trend changing. Now on the daily we have this side huge volume, so we see the buyers coming in here, and these buyers essentially sent the market sideways on an accumulation phase. Okay, and so basically then we went up. Now how does a trend look? Well, trend looks pretty easy, right? We go up, we've now got this as resistance, and now what we do is we've got this as resistance. We break up, we go sideways, we've got some testing in here, we break up. This is a standard Bollinger Band. The middle of a standard Bollinger Band is the trend diamonds, and basically the price was staying above the Bollinger Band center. If I go and show you guys this, if I go in here and I put a trend, I think the Bollinger Bands are under trends because it's a trend tool and it's a standard setting, and I put it here, you can see these trend diamonds are exactly the center of the Bollinger Band. Properties, can I switch that off or not? No, I can't switch off the outside, but you can see the trend diamonds are there. Okay, so the trend diamonds are the center of a standard Bollinger Band, okay, in this particular proprietary software. So I'm going to delete that. All right, so we're going up, and we normally test this. Now as soon as we come anywhere near the center of that Bollinger Band, you've got to look for trend changes. Okay, so here we tested it, but we went back up the next day. These here are ATR stops. You can find this in MT4. Use them, trail them when you get stopped out of the trend, and when they go above the trend, as they do on this side, you know that the trend is basically changing dynamics. Okay, Bollinger Band, we're coming up. So always in a trend we've got this level, and then next one we got, like now we got some support here, so this would act as support. If we went up and broke down through this line, the trend is over. Okay, end of story. We're below the Bollinger Band, we're below this support level, but no, we didn't even go there. We went here, we carried on, we stayed above the Bollinger Band, we went into a bit of a consolidation phase here, and then from there we went boof, 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 we went up. This would have taken a trader a lot of patience to trade. It was a couple of months long in the summer. July is usually a bit naff in the markets anyway. It's not a very difficult month to trade. Things pick up again in August, which they did here. We saw a test of the Bollinger Band, we saw the next day up. This is a trend continuation pattern. We saw a retest of the Bollinger Band here, and then we saw the top. Now gold top 1550 is a major resistance level. Then here we see this here signifies supply coming in. Here is weakness, supply coming in. Whenever you see these on the daily, you can expect the price to go down, supply coming in. Okay, you don't need a fancy indicator. You look at your candle, it's got a long wick on the top, it's in an uptrend, that is supply coming in. You got your stops, move them up underneath these daily bars, okay, because the likelihood of the trend changing is very high when you start seeing this weakness. Already here we saw this is what's called an engulfing bar. It's very, very powerful bearish signal, tried to go higher, close lower. This is called an engulfing bar or engulfing candle, very bearish signal. We did push one more leg higher, we saw the supply coming in. Okay, so we saw the weakness starting here. All right, So that's basically it. So here we saw a widespread down bar. This is supply hitting the market, right? So we can see the trend dynamics changing. We now went below this previous resistance level, which we hadn't done before in the trend, right? We hadn't done it here, and so on and so forth, right? So you see, like, we never ever pierced the previous resistance level. We went out here, resistance level, we went out, we never came and tested it, new support, new resistance, went out, never tested this support level, but here we now have a resistance level, we went out, this pierced it, this now your top is forming. Okay, very simple. Just draw those support and resistance levels in a trend. You should never ever have those pierced. So once you're out through a support level, it might test the support level, but if it goes back below it, then the trend is changing. It's very simple, right? Bollinger Band, we went below the Bollinger Band. As soon as you see this, you close your trade. The trend dynamics is changing, okay? It's very simple. And now we've got into a very messy thing on gold. I don't know what this is. Could be a flag. I don't really know. I just trade gold intraday, but this could be a flag, and we could definitely see, I believe, anyway, I'm looking at a lot of weakness here. I won't sell this unless this flag breaks to the outside. Buy it unless this breaks to the upside above 1500 again. I'm looking for selling on gold because we got weakness here, we've got weakness here, we've got weakness here, weakness here, weakness here. We've got lower highs. Okay, so this is actually forming potentially a rollover. If the Brexit deal is particularly crap this weekend, we may get some risk protection on I can't remember the word, it's early here on Amber Coffee, but we might get some movement out of the top of this kind of channel on gold. So that's it. Trading a trend, use the Bollinger Band, use the center of the Bollinger Band to determine your trend. Okay, ends of trends, this is one I want to show you today. This is one I'm looking to trade. This is the DAX. Okay, it's just kind of whizzing over to another one. I trade everything. We've got an up thrust here. Okay, we've had an uptrend on the daily, we've got an up thrust. This is major weakness on the DAX at the moment. I'm looking for a potential move today into kind of test this support level of 1464. If we see a breakdown of this daily trend is over. Okay, could be a test, right? But if you bought in here and we're trailing our stops on the 4 hour, right? So you got your stops here on the 4 hour, which is your ATR stops. The 4 hour is a good trend, but we can say this trend is about to roll over. If we break down and come to here, the trend is over, right? We're below the Bollinger Band, right? Same here. Here's the trend, Bollinger Band trend. Here's where the trend ended. Price went above the center of the Bollinger Band. Trend is over, okay? Here, nice trend on the DAX. This one I was making lots of money on the way up. Bollinger Band, center of the Bollinger Band is up, boof, 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 price testing here, keeps going up, you just follow your stops up. These are ATR stops, okay, ATR stops, you can find them in MT4, and we have a little bit of weakness here, down bar, up bar. This is a kind of a, if you see this is very orderly, all of a sudden it's boof, boof, and all of a sudden you can kind of see that, okay, this was potential selling, and then we had this up move, but this was actually supply entering the market. A bar doesn't do that unless there's a lot of sellers. Okay, we basically engulfing bar again. As soon as you see an engulfing bar on the daily, you can say that the trend is over, or HR, sorry, this is a 4 hour. So once you see that engulfing bar in the trend, you can say that your trend is starting to top. We then got a gap down, and then the trend dynamics changed, right? So there it is. So then we got that engulfing bar, this one, engulfing, tried to go higher, closed lower. Actually, what did it do there? Probably open, tried to go lower, went higher. I don't know what happened there. Intraday, I'd have to go and look at that. But that's an engulfing bar. Usually you like to see it where the open is here and the close is here. Okay, so that's a more powerful engulfing bar, but you saw the supply coming in again here. We got the gap down, and then the trend dynamics changed, and then we basically had a nice little down move, right? So, you know, that's how we look for trades in the trend. Okay, how do trends finish? What to look for trading on trends. Okay, sorry, it's early here, need coffee.